Hi there, this is Casey Roberts, Special Education Consultant. I'd like to spend a few minutes with you today discussing how CERTs can use Lexia as a resource to support students requiring Tier 2 interventions. Today we'll look at how Lexia aligns with the 5 pillars or simple view of reading that Anne and Callie have been supporting us with, and take a look at how to access and really leverage the wide variety of support materials available to the staff supporting Lexia users. Most CERTs have seen Lexia. We're sort of familiar with it and understand that it provides reading support for our students. Lexia also aligns with the simple view of reading by providing explicit and frequent practice for our students who require increased repetition to gain skills. Lexia is not a replacement for core classroom instruction or targeted CERT intervention, but it can be a useful tool for students whose learning profile makes it difficult to gain skills through classroom instruction alone. As we're learning, reading acquisition requires 5 pillars: phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. The Lexia program is built on the systematic inclusion of each pillar. Looking at the Lexia scope and sequence, we can see that each skill is represented with an intentional fading out of the phonological awareness and then phonics skills as a student develops. This scope and sequence can be a useful tool in reassuring older students that as they gain lagging skills, the content does progress to more complex material. Lexia's placement test makes it a useful tool for reaching back and filling in skills that are lagging or absent in some of our learners. For example, we know that with appropriate exposure, most, but not all, students gain phonological awareness skills in the K program years. Students that have lagging skills in this area require frequent, extensive, and systematic instruction with an increase in repetition to close gaps. The power in Lexia is not as a teaching replacement, but rather to provide the increased frequency that some students need. While many of us are familiar with the student-facing parts of Lexia, the real power for educators lies in the resources section. In order to access these resources, you will need to log in as an educator. One Lexia superpower is that it provides real-time feedback to teachers about student progress or skill refinement during independent practice time. The data reporting function in the My Lexia portal provides a detailed look at both the topics covered in their current level and how they're progressing through those topics. Using this data is a powerful and timely tool to drive intervention programming. In the case of this student sample data, they're working through vocabulary strategies with mid-range accuracy and a pretty quick rate of completion. When we dig a bit deeper into how this little guy's doing by accessing the detailed skill reports, we can see at a glance that synonyms and antonyms are an area of strength. He completed the 8 activities in just 8 attempts. However, the progress working with irregular plurals and verbs is much more halting. There was some initial progress, but then a real stall indicated by the straight line from attempt 10 to 15. At this point, some targeted teaching happened, and the student began to progress with more confidence through the remainder of the activities. When used intentionally and with precision, the data available through Lexia provides a timely and detailed look at progress and next steps. The great news is that Lexia not only provides the practice for students and the data for teachers, but a wide variety of resources that support direct instruction in person and virtually. Tools like decodable readers, flashcards, slide deck lessons, graphic organizers to support writing, and comprehension and fluency activities are all available on the Core 5 Resource Hub. As a reminder, only teachers of students currently using Lexia with active Lexia accounts will have access to the Resource Hub, and it does require your login. When looking at the Resource Hub, you'll notice that support tools are generally sorted by level and skill. So in the instance of the little guy whose data we are looking at that was needing support with irregular plurals in level 12, there are a couple resource options to support him to build that skill. Many teachers are already aware of the Lexia Skill Builder activities when prompted to do so by the program. However, if you haven't done one lately, you might have missed the fact that they've all been digitized to support virtual delivery. Looking at the slide decks under phonics, we can select irregular plural nouns and then open it. And they're all listed alphabetically. Here you'll be prompted to open up your own copy and make a copy of that slide deck. And this can be used to support the student in person or virtually. So as you can see here, when you open this up, you do have a virtual lesson that can be shared that works students through a number of skills. In addition to resources that support these very specific skills where students might be lagging, the Resource Hub also now has sets of flashcards, letter tiles, fluency passages, and decodable readers. These decodable readers are sorted by skill and supported by a teacher's guide with a lesson plan. The readers can be printed as small print and fold readers or downloaded for a digital display optimized for digital support. So this is an example of a digital decodable reader. Our goal today is really to highlight the wealth of resources available to support supplementary instruction that's responsive to a student's current needs and easy to use for both teachers and CERTs in person or virtually. As you can see, we really just scratched the surface of the resources at your fingertips. As we wrap up our time, I hope we've helped explain how Lexia aligns with the simple view of reading. We know that Lexia is best used when it augments but doesn't replace classroom instruction and CERT intervention. Our best practices for closing gaps always is to use timely data and targeted resource and strategies, both of which are available through the Lexia Core 5 Resource Hub. Thanks so much for taking the time today. If you have any other questions about how to leverage Lexia for your students, please feel free to reach out to your Family of Schools consultant.